So the Seattle Seahawks have signed Chris Carson, and honestly, I like this move. I think Chris Carson is an underrated back. There's a lot he does really well, and I also just think this is what you do when you have a team that you feel can win a championship, which in my opinion, Seattle is. Like, there's a lot of really good in their team, and when they were playing their best football, they looked unstoppable at times last year. That just didn't really happen very often, and usually it was defense playing great, offense playing poor, or other way around. But anyways, the Chris Carson deal, it's a 2-year deal worth up to $14 million. So, that doesn't necessarily mean he's guaranteed to get $14 million. It's actually just $5.5 million guaranteed in year one. So, this is a very small amount of money to give someone who's a really good player, in my opinion. This is a buy low, and he's going to produce high type of player. So I love this move for the Seahawks. And let's just jump into what I like about Carson. So we'll start off with this play. This play is going to show off his vision. He has very good vision, so that's definitely a key factor in his game. And what's going to end up happening on this play is you see the blocking concept on the screen, basically just a bunch of one-on-one matchups, and Carson's going to take the ball to our right, which is his left. And once this play starts, you notice that really right there, 56 is doing a good job at sort of trying to get to, again, our right, so Carson's left, where that's where Carson wanted to run to. That's where the play is sort of designed. But at this point, it's well defended. And so what Chris Carson is going to do is just say, okay, well, I would have loved to get through that gap, but, if you're going to cheat over to that side of the field, we'll all just go to the other side of the field. Now, this is easier said than done. I mean, I'm pausing this right now and showing you which gap he should run through. It's a lot easier to do that than it is to just, in real time, not only notice it, but also have the footwork to get over. But watch him notice it, get over, and does a pretty good job of running after contact and picking up a pretty good gain on that one. So that's a good play. I now want to show this one because, I find it funny sort of how him and Aaron Jones are, the two big name running back free agents of this offseason, because in some ways they are sort of similar players. Both, weren't early draft picks by any means. Both guys have good footwork, have good vision, and have good acceleration. And the acceleration is oftentimes more important than speed. Just how quickly can you just get up to your top speed? Because it really matters. And so watch, Carson takes a snap, and again, this is kind of an easy read to make. You can clearly see where you probably would want to run the football. Obviously, it's a little bit easier for me to pause it and say it now, but still, we see the gap he wants to run through. He is going to run through that gap. But watch how quickly he gets through it and is able to go all the way in towards this until the safety is the guy who finally brings him down. So a lot of lesser backs, I think, run through that gap, but probably get tackled only a few yards out of it and maybe gain like 5 yards or so. He has the acceleration to pick up as many yards are there and really, help the offensive line out just by when they create a hole for you, being able to make the most of it and making everybody on the field look better, quite frankly. This one's another pretty good example of something similar where really just focus on that block. Don't worry about the whole play. Just that block's going to be the interesting one. Once this play starts, notice how, 49 for the Giants, he's doing his best to sort of set the edge right here. If Carson decides he wants to get to, 49's right, which would be to, our right, Carson's left, the way that you would do that is really you'd have to have the acceleration to get all the way past him, but he's sort of, off to the side in a way that Carson, usually halfbacks in general, just aren't going to go in that direction. But Chris Carson doesn't love what he sees everywhere around and also trusts his own acceleration, so sometimes he'll take a chance and watch him just be able to get past him. And admittedly, 49 actually fell over a Seattle player who got blocked back, so maybe that factored in. I don't know. I don't think it did, but I think it really does go to show this acceleration, even if you don't want to talk about him running past 49. He ran past 52, so he's a guy who can definitely accelerate with the best of them and get up to a top speed very quickly. I also want to talk about his receiving game because honestly, I think that's a pretty underrated aspect of Chris Carson's game, and this play can be a good example of it. I know that you look at the stats and say he hasn't exactly lit the world on fire in terms of receptions. Last year, he had a career high in receiving yards, and it was with just 287. So it's not like he's getting a ton, although he did have 4 touchdowns last year and has slowly increased into receiving yards every year, even last year when he had significantly less playing time. But anyways, this is a good example, just kind of showing what he can do in the receiving game. I'm not saying he's, again, he's not a Christian McCaffrey. He's not a prime Le'Veon Bell, but he can do some things well. This is just a check down against cover 2 zone, so it's not a high degree of difficulty like throw. It's, a simple check down. You hit your halfback, and then he tries to pick up as many yards as he can. But as I've kind of alluded to, Carson can accelerate, and also he's pretty good in open space. So throwing him the ball here, it's not a bad situation whatsoever. Watch. Wilson takes a snap. Carson gets open, obviously, but then watch how he's able to just sort of run to the side, break a tackle, and does pick up a first down. So is that the greatest offensive play you'll ever see? No, but it's another tool in his tool belt. It's another thing he's bringing to the table, and when you're a good enough runner, as Carson is, the receiving game is just sort of bonus at that point, because it kind of makes things difficult when you can run routes. Now the opposing team doesn't know exactly what you're going to do when you have a back who's really good at everything. I mean, he's not necessarily the best blitz picker-upper, but that's not entirely besides the point. But, we'll focus on the positives here. And he's not atrocious at it either. But anyways, one more play I want to show. It's going to be this one, which is going to be, again, this is something that we've seen a lot of how Carson got his yards. Again, it seems like they never gave Carson like a chance, I feel like, to be a primary receiving threat out of the backfield, but he's definitely made some big plays. And this is going to be a cover 3 zone. And really the mindset is you have a couple of Seattle players running deep, and Carson kind of runs underneath. And with the zone coverage, Atlanta's going to get forced further deep, and now Carson underneath could make a grab and just pick up some yards. So watch. Wilson takes a snap. He is going to flip this one to Chris Carson, and there's going to be a couple things to note here. First is that it's actually not going to be a great throw. Wilson makes it a little bit further to the left side of the screen. But also what's going to be worth noting is just what Carson is going to do after he makes the grab. Watch him make kind of a tough grab, and then just runs forward and runs head, just, lowers the shoulder, runs right into a defensive player. That's kind of one of what he does, if I'm being honest. In the receiving game, it's like a legit part of Seattle strategy. Hit Carson in the flat, he'll run, head first into a player who's bigger than him, and then he'll get up and do it again, which is just, it's brutal, it's violent, but hey, it's also valuable. And, he certainly earned the contract that he got with doing that. So yeah, he can accelerate well, good vision, smart player, impactful in the receiving game, and not afraid of taking a big hit. There's a lot to like about Chris Carson. He's a good player. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of this move in general? And also, what do you think of just Chris Carson as a player? I always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.